We're binge-worthy.
Thanks for joining the Junk Connoisseurs. Well, we're in a bunker tonight where no B-29s will interrupt the recording of this episode.
I would hope not, because if they do, the house is on fire.
Well, anything fun going on with any of us that's noteworthy, automotive-wise or other?
I thought I was moving, so I sold a bunch of projects, and now I'm not. So I have many fewer projects. Yay? Question mark.
But now you have money for
No,
another
because
project.
I spent a lot of that money finishing my basement.
Yeah.
So I need to pay off said basement.
I can kind of live vicariously through you going through a purge that feels maybe like a weight is lifted off your shoulders project-wise a little bit. Like,
It's a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
No, it's fine. Like, none of them I'm upset about, because there's always something else.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Throughout this process, I figured out that I really want a second-gen Ranchero. So, 60 to 63.
Okay.
I want one that's not complete garbage, but also not $10,000. And they exist in that $5,000 range.
Okay.
Not happening anytime soon, but
Right.
that is on my radar.
Right.
Yeah, like the one that Bob has is far too nice.
Mm-hmm.
Not that one will ever be available for sale, but
So Falcon Ranchero in the first half of the Falcon.
yes, the 64, 65 is cool, but not as cool.
Agreed.
It's a little overly square in a kind of odd way. But anyway, it's kind of nitpicky.
I like them all, and would prefer a car version to the Ranchero version most of the time. But in this day and age, if the right deal came along, of course, I'd be interested too.
Yeah.
Jordan also let slip at a Cars and Coffee get together that there was some family interest in doing some off-roading and owning something four-wheel drive that the whole family could sit in. So right off the bat, later that afternoon, I sent him a couple of links to potential four-seater or more off-road vehicles or potential for off-road four-wheel drive vehicles. I think one was a 4Runner and one was a Jeep Cherokee. And he said, "You've got to stop. I spent all my money already." Yeah. And I was like, okay, so then I should just send these to your wife. And then I did. But she didn't react the same way. She was just like, let's talk about other stuff.
She did not engage.
Exactly. She knew how to handle it.
Anything with a low drive, like four-wheel drive with a two-speed transfer case, is off-road worthy in my opinion.
Yeah.
People are far too hung up on, like, oh, that'll never make it anywhere. Like, BS.
So a new listener of ours was mentioning that he had been involved in the back 40 activities that the three of us have been involved in the past, and ever since then. So this was an activity that started out with racing junk cars in a field and then graduated to also including doing some off-roading in the woods near the same field. And sometimes some of the race cars would do some of the off-road stuff. So race cars, air quotes, being old junky $100 cars that would pull their own weight. And this listener was reminiscing fondly about now his bar for what is an off-road capable vehicle is like an 89 Toyota Corolla, because there was I think you guys probably remember a white one out there that was owned by a friend of his and friend of ours, and it could do a lot more than you would expect an 89 Toyota Corolla.
If you don't expect to have to drive it home, you can do some stuff.
That is a major caveat. Yeah.
I did one time go out there in a rainstorm in Katie's, my wife's car, which was a Pontiac Vibe, which was essentially a Corolla wagon. And it had been raining, and I tore the air dam off and not only had to like figure out a way to get unstuck and get it back up the trail to the house, I had to like zip tie the air dam on well enough that she wouldn't notice it immediately, and then I had to fix it at night while she was asleep. It was, to my knowledge, she never found out. So, and I think we're past that 10-year statute of limitations now. So,
That doesn't apply in marriage.
yeah,
And-
she doesn't listen anyway.
Exactly. She doesn't.
That's true.
Doesn't listen to the podcast.
Yeah.
As do most of our as don't most of our spouses. Yeah, well, I agree with you. People get real hung up on having to have a certain size tire and certain amount of ground clearance and things like that for off-roading. But around here, a rough gravel road is about as off-road as most people get. And
Yeah. As they take their.
those curbs in the Starbucks drive-through probably are what a lot of people use the off-road capability for.
Yep. It's your Jeep with its 37s and.
25 series tires on them.
Oh, I thought you were going to say 25 ducks in the windshield. No, sorry.
Both.
Yeah.
You can have all of these things. They're not mutually exclusive. No, I was talking about this to a friend of mine, and he sent a video of a ZJ, the first gen Grand Cherokee, right? Is that the right chassis
Yep.
code? I assume it was. Were they all 2-speed transfer case, or were some of them all-wheel drive?
Some of them were full-time all-wheel drive, but they had, because the V8 ones were full-time all-wheel drive, but they had some sort of center differential lock of some kind. Because I remember I could lock mine in.
But it didn't have a low gear?
It didn't have. Oh, I think it did have a low range.
Okay.
But it was full-time all-wheel drive.
Anyway.
Yeah.
They were out in a nearly stock ZJ with, 33-inch or less aggressive tires. It did have a snorkel, so it's like they were planning on doing some dumb stuff. But it was like stock ride height, and they were crawling over 2-3 foot rocks, no problem. Like, yeah, just get out there. That's what I've learned is you really don't need to spend a ton of money to get something that will just go out and run around in the woods.
Right.
I feel like skid plates are probably the first thing you should add to something that doesn't have it. Like
That's fair.
some kind of armor for the gas tank and your transmission,
Yeah.
and your oil pan. And after that, yeah, if you make the skid plate thick enough, you will just slide over something.
Yeah. Tires
Yeah,
probably are the next, like,
yeah,
maybe those two should happen at the same time.
yeah. That I feel like those are your yeah.
Yep. Harbor Freight winch and a locker, and you're probably good to do 98% of trails.
I'm pretty sure you guys have this out of order because like 48 different LED light bars need to be added first, right? I mean, evidence would suggest that is
Yeah.
the most important thing.
Do you have to signal the rescue helicopter? I mean, why?
I don't know what the heck they're for.
Well,
but
it's
these
for-
jackasses drive around blinded you.
It's for spotlighting the deer so you can shoot them from the highway.
There you go. Well, Jordan, what are we going to talk about this evening? What kind of vehicle?
It's my turn? Mm-hmm. Well, I guess it's a good thing I prepared.
As he pulls out a Post-it note, like, I'm tired of these podcasts about my giant hand.
What?
Simpsons reference. Never mind.
I don't have your photographic memory. I
giant
love
hand.
that I can make a podcast or a Simpsons joke, and you will always get it. And I'm a little disappointed that you can make one, and I will almost never.
You don't remember the one where Homer's like written on his hand, and he's like rehearsing his speech, and then the guy walks the other direction. He's like, "I am tired of these jokes about my giant hand. The first such incident occurred in 1958 when," and then he walks out of frame, but he's got a hand like 4 feet across.
I didn't remember that one.
No,
It's one of my favorites. Anywho,
yeah. I have a topic.
All right.
Where would you like to begin?
how many legs?
How many legs?
There's 2 triangles we need to know about.
Let's see. The Junk Connoisseurs trifecta is, I think 0 for 3. Remind me of that. It's
So
been
Lotus was not involved.
Nope.
The Iron Duke
No,
was not in.
no Iron Dukes in sight.
Okay, so that's the first one. What's the other? It's V8.
what was the
rear wheel drive? Yeah, the other
Christ-
trifecta.
Chrysler did not do this 1st
Mm-hmm.
probably.
Okay.
Who knows with their weird history, but
And then
I don't
Alex-
believe so.
I know. That's why we'll see. But Alex's trifecta: V8 rear wheel drive stick. How many are we going here?
3 for 3.
Sweet action.
Built. That is built with one caveat that I am not going to explain until later.
Okay, all right. So we've got V8, standard transmission, and rear-wheel drive. That's a lot of stuff that we like.
Is
Probably.
it more than 8 cylinders?
No.
Okay.
Does it use them all?
Yes. I
That
don't know.
overdrive just won't stall?
Oh God.
Sorry.
I don't know where we're at. I'm having an aneurysm.
Yeah. That's
You've caused me
Hot Rod Lincoln lyrics.
Oh.
That's got 8 cylinders and uses them all. Got overdrive, just won't stall.
because that makes those two things are associated with one another.
Yeah,
I say that like we've talked about how that song doesn't really make sense in a lot of places.
that's all right. It's still cool. Okay, so it's a V8. Is it of U.S. origin?
No.
Okay, so we're talking about most likely a European or Japanese vehicle. Can I narrow it down to those two continents?
Yes.
Okay.
And I will tell you, the V8 portion of this conversation is about yay big, and I have my fingers very close together, folks.
Is the fuel introduced in a pressurized manner, or is it sucked in by a carburetor?
It is electronic fuel injection only.
Okay.
Yes.
Fuel injection only. So when you say that the V8 is a small part of it, it means that it was available in many other engines and a V8 was a small portion of them, or just that that's not that fantastic that it was a V8?
No.
Or it was a tiny displacement V8, which is kind of where I was looking at.
No, not
Okay.
tiny displacement. Incredibly small for the portion of the run of the vehicle.
Okay, so it's rare with a V8.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Is this related to one that we've talked about in the past?
I mean, in vague ways, but
Not okay.
not-
Sorry, it's not like the
Tiger.
Sunbeam Tiger was based on an Alpine.
yes, that is. It is not
not
like
that.
that.
Okay.
I'm gonna go ahead and break off the part that's probably confusing you the most. The V8 was a specialty joint project, but it was available through certain dealerships. So it was something you could buy directly, but not the primary. Like you could just lop that portion off. That was just it exists, but I threw it in there specifically
this
because
a-
it's fun.
Jensen.
No,
Okay.
Is this a German vehicle?
it is a German vehicle.
Was this a vehicle produced with one nameplate produced over many chassis codes?
Yeah, basically. And in the same way that so many vehicles are produced today, you know,
Because I was thinking M3, but
Okay.
the M3 got a V8 eventually, and it was not a special M3 though. It was all the
I know-
M3s
you are
got one.
in the ballpark though.
I know. So is it a BMW?
It is a
okay,
BMW.
Okay. I was gonna mention that I know very little bit about Mercedes, but like when you were saying the V8 part, I was thinking like
Yeah.
AMG kind of ish thing,
That is the right mindset, but it's for BMW.
but it's BMW.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is it an Alpina of some variety?
That's the V8.
So
Portion.
is it the E34 5 Series?
E36. So this is the 3 Series
Okay.
chassis. The Alpina V8, Alpine's the French one.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Alpine is Renault.
the B-
Alpina is the BMW. They put a V8 in the E36 from the factory.
The B8 came out in 96,
Sweet.
5, somewhere around there. Anyway, had a 4.6 V8. It was the same unit they used in the E34, but it was a special casting because they had some weird cylinder liner thing, so they couldn't just like bore it out. Specifically, that BMW made for Alpina, and
Neat.
then they did all their fancy stuff and shoved it into the E36 chassis.
So it's the
So-
E36.
It is the
We're talking about the
E36.
E36, which is the 3 Series.
Yes, it is the 3 Series, and it was built
92 to 2000. 99
yes, 92 to 9. Yeah, 99, I think.
Model years, yeah.
Eight model years.
Yeah.
And just for, I'm excited to talk about this one because I now know what I'm going to be searching for on Facebook Marketplace in about 2 hours.
The Alpina, they made like 130 of them.
But no, just the E36
Oh, okay.
in general. But for listeners that know less about BMWs than me, let's go through the series a little bit, if that's all right.
Sure. So the BMW 3 Series is not as much anymore, but through most of its life has been the introductory BMW. So way back when they had the BMW 2002, which was a small car, sort of. At that point, they didn't have a whole lot of models, so there was like the Bavaria and stuff that were bigger, but it was their every man's car, whatever you want to call it.
Compact.
Yeah, it was
generally,
compact.
yeah.
And then that went to the next generation was a 3 Series. That was the E21 chassis code, and then there's the E30.
I had one of those. The
Yeah,
E21.
yeah. We never did the. Has anybody owned one of these? Because I don't think any of us have.
Now
an
we
E36.
danced all around the BMWs. But
Yeah, yeah.
'cause
I haven't.
Alex had an E39, an E30, and an E21. You had an E39 for a hot second.
Yeah.
Jordan, have you had BMWs?
I don't believe I've ever owned a BMW.
I've got the E39. I've still got.
The funny thing is I would have to think about that for a moment to make sure.
I had to think if I'd had another one, and
Too many
don't think I had.
damn cars. No, I don't believe I've ever owned a BMW. I mean, I've looked at them several times. I've owned German cars before, so it's not like I'm afraid of them.
So you haven't owned enough German cars, is what you're saying?
Well, the first one I had was a Porsche 944. So,
Ugh, yeah.
that scared me off reasonably, but
Yeah.
not to the point where I was like, oh, I'll never own a German car again.
All the Porsche maintenance costs and finicky stuff with, like 2/3 of the performance of most Porsches.
When I couldn't get the hatch to stay closed because I was following the adjustment procedure and it wasn't adjusting correctly, so I'd be driving down the road and come to a stoplight and the hatch would open. And you had to lay inside the car to adjust it because the hatch had to be closed. Oh my gosh, it was a mess. Anyway, so yes, the 3 Series. This is the third version of the 3 Series, fourth version of BMW making a compact coupe sedan thing to make available at lower prices for people all over the world. So it was available in 5 body styles, which is an awful lot. You've got a sedan, a coupe, a wagon, a convertible, and the TI, the compact,
the TI.
which was like they just lopped off
318
the trunk and made it a hatchback.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird.
It was a 318 Ti, right?
Here it was.
Yes.
Yeah.
You can only get the 4-cylinder here. You get a 6-cylinder in Germany.
Yeah.
They were lighter.
They made an M3 compact as well.
That we never got.
No, we didn't get any of the highfalutin M cars during this period, but I will talk about that some more later.
We were mentioning the 318. The others were what, a
325, 323 maybe.
Kids, back when German cars were rational,
Yes.
you could generally look at a nameplate from either Mercedes, BMW, or Audi and immediately at least ascertain what size it was and probably what it displaced. So with BMW for the longest period, probably 1980 to like 2010, the first digit was the chassis size. So 3, 5, 7, 8, 6, eventually 4, and eventually 2 and 1.
Yeah.
Although we didn't have those in the 90s. Back in my day. The next two were the engine displacement in liters. So the 318 was a 3 Series with a 1.8 liter 4-cylinder. Then became a 1.9 liter 4-cylinder, and they said, we really don't want to change it. And now it is all bets are off.
And a 325 would be a 3 Series with a 2.5 liter 6-cylinder in it. Yep.
There were some caveats because like a 323 was a 6-cylinder and initially it was a 2-liter 6-cylinder, but they added the 3 to make it discernible from the
2-liter 4-cylinder.
Yeah.
And then it became a 2.5 liter 6-cylinder, but they kept calling it the 323.
Yeah. I think at that point it was the 318 was the gas version, but overseas they had the 320D, which was the 2-liter diesel version. So instead of having the 320i, which would be a 6-cylinder 2-liter fuel injected version. Anyway,
as with all rules, there were exceptions.
Yes, it at least tried.
Yeah.
So yeah, this was a time period where you could look at the back of a vehicle and go, "Oh, I have a general idea what that is." So BMW has this thing, and it still holds true mostly for today, where the letter at the end tells you a little more information beyond displacement. So things that end in I are generally gas engine, and they may have an S if it's the sportier version before you get into like the actual sports cars, and D would be diesel. They now have E's, which are electrics or hybrid, maybe. No,
Some of them, yeah. The 330E is a hybrid. It's a plug-in hybrid.
Anyway, that's not what we're talking about today.
X was one of them.
Oh yes, that X means all-wheel drive, so you get a 325iX, and that was not available in the E36. I learned that they didn't do all-wheel drive in this chassis, which
Really?
they did the previous one, and they did the one after this.
Okay.
It was just like 90s BMW was like, nah, we don't need that.
I
Even
wasn't
though,
aware of that.
yeah, me either. So, how many 3 Series do you all think sold worldwide? I will also accept U.S. answer, and then like if you want to just take a crack at either one.
I wouldn't even know where to start. A lot.
Like just E36s.
Yes, this chassis code, which does those numbers include the Z3 because it's a variant. However, it's a convertible. It's small and very specific. It didn't sell an absolute ton. It was sizable, but you know.
Yeah, but these were the family sedan. You know,
Wagon,
a 4-cylinder 3.8. Yeah, we didn't get the wagon here either. But
No.
The 4-cylinder 3 Series was what the family car was in Germany.
Yep.
I'm gonna guess how long? 9 model years.
8.
8 model years. 2.5 million.
Okay.
I don't even care to guess. I know
Yeah.
it was probably
It's very close.
staggering.
3 million.
Okay.
500 in the U.S. though. So like
500,000.
yes.
Yeah.
So unlike most vehicles, there were 5 times as many sales in Europe. Like we look at these kind of numbers, and the Japanese have this all the time. They'll sell, 15% in home market, and then the rest of it is basically the United States.
Yeah.
The Datsun Z, I think, had that, where it was like almost exclusively sold in the U.S.
Well, I mean, Germany, BMW is an aspirational. It's a luxury brand here, or near luxury.
Yeah.
And over there, it's like going to the GM dealership. It's
Right.
like you can get your Chevrolet BMW, which is a 4-cylinder stripper with a stick, or you can get your Cadillac BMW with
Right.
an 8-cylinder and an automatic, and load it up.
Yeah, the
But over
base.
here, they're only luxury or near luxury. They
Right.
tried to get into like I mean,
318
they,
Ti.
they shot low and tried, and it just didn't really take here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that kind of leads to the point, like a base model. I didn't get a price, but a base model Euro spec version would be a 115 horsepower 316i, and given what they cost here, it probably would have been the equivalent of like 25 grand now for that basic model. Which at that point you're really just kind of competing with like the Ford Mondeo, which is at that point that would have been like a Contour. So of a newer version would be a Ford Fusion, the world car minus the US, because the Contour was not nearly as nice, I think, as the Mondeo was overseas. So getting off topic. So in the United States, the vast majority of these were 4 and 6 cylinder, probably mostly 6 cylinders. And then our top car through let's see, 4 years in, we finally got the M3 that they had in Europe for many years.
Okay.
And there's a whole story related to how we managed to get an M car at all. But I'm just sort of working through the details right now. So
And the M signifies.
it's the highest
Moron.
it's the highest performance version of whatever chassis they have. And that's been muddied a lot since then, but at the same time, like because you've got like M Sport, and so if you don't know what you're looking at, it could be
it's like every Mercedes with an AMG badge, and
Yeah.
you're like,
just because you have an AMG badge and monoblock wheels doesn't mean that you're anything worth looking at.
When you see an M designation on a BMW, it generally signifies high performance.
What does the M stand for, Jordan?
I don't know.
Motorsport,
Okay.
originally.
Is it also motorsport in German?
I think it's Motorrad,
Okay.
but yeah, it means motorsport.
I wasn't doing the BMW 1M, so I didn't worry about M1. So I
M1?
didn't worry. Yeah.
Which was their supercar kind of
Mid-engine supercar from I think the late 70s.
Okay. I think I
6-cylinder.
remember from Top Gear or something.
Yeah. So, in the United States, 4 and 6-cylinder engines started at 140 horsepower. Once we got the M car, that was 240 horsepower. So that was kind of the spread. The Alpina with the fancy V8 I mentioned earlier, 333 horsepower. So they made like none of them, but it was really cool that that was even a thing that occurred. Non-US versions of the M3 got basically a different engine. It was so the American cars all used what was the M series 6-cylinder engine. Even the M3 versions were like just fancier versions of the regular car. Car engine. The ones in Europe had an S series engine, and it had more revs and individual throttle bodies and all sorts of crazy stuff. Infinitely variable valve timing. I don't know. And they made way more horsepower. So like 315. No, it's 3. So by the
like
end,
280. But still, it was a respectable bump.
286 at the beginning,
Okay.
but when we got the first M car in 95, okay, so I guess it was 96. They went to 316,
Okay.
321 PS is what
Which is pretty impressive from a 3-liter straight six,
Yep.
especially in the 90s. Yeah.
But that's one of those things like we got this effectively bomb-proof engine that BMW had been using some variant of it for 10 or 15 years. Only rev to like mid-sixes, but made 240 horsepower, made 225 foot-pounds of torque at a reasonably low RPM. It was quite snappy, revved nicely for what range it had. The Euro version made basically the same torque because it was the same displacement, 3-liter and then later 3.2 liters. Rev to 7,600 RPM or something. Made all that extra power up top, but apparently was plagued with issues. So like main crank bearing failure issues. The fact it had 6 throttle bodies apparently caused all sorts of havoc.
Who'd have thought, right?
Yeah, the variable valve timing stuff that BMW uses is also
Questionable.
fraught. Yeah,
It's questionable.
so it on paper it doesn't look all like it looks like we got screwed, but when you look back on history, it's really not that bad.
Yeah.
The American car isn't really that much slower in a straight
not.
line.
And it's way more usable.
Yeah.
It's torqueier. Yeah.
So that kind of takes me to the story of how we got an M car, an M3 several years later, when the chassis came out in 92. We didn't get one until 95. The European version had been out, I think it was 92 or 93 that the M3 came out over there. Apparently the E30 M3, so the first normal M car that came to the United States, did not sell well at all. It was a homologation special, and it was not street friendly. It wasn't any faster in a straight line than the normal cars because it had a 4-cylinder, and it made like 190 horsepower or so. So it was a lot of power for what it was. But the E30, you could also get a 6-cylinder in it. In the non-M versions and in a straight line, they made almost the same amount of power and probably a little better torque and were easier to drive.
Day to day, they were a better car. Around
Yeah.
the track, they were so much slower.
Oh, absolutely.
Because the E30 M3 was so high strung.
Well, and just improve performance improvements across the board in that car. So the chassis was
Yeah.
just infinitely better, but it was built as a race car, and then they just sort of were like, "Oh, we should sell a street version
Yeah.
because we
have
to
sell 2,000 of these." So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So BMW America was not going to sell any more M cars because they had these sitting on the lot for like literal years trying to get rid of them.
The E30, the previous generation, it was a little bit of a flop for them.
The M
car,
version.
yeah.
Yeah, because I think the regular non-M cars sold really well.
They did.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I meant. The
Yeah.
M car, the M3, the E30 M3 was didn't pan out.
Yeah.
This
quite the way
parallels
they
the
wanted.
Superbird.
Yeah.
Homologation special, couldn't move them off the lots. worth a bajillion dollars now.
Yeah.
And have been for 20 years. I mean, they were an approachable classic until about 1999, and then people were like, no, we need to, snap these up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Coincidentally, they look identical to an E30.
They don't.
Oh, okay.
Big old flared fenders.
I think he was being
Oh, the
sarcastic.
Superbird? I mean, also, the other difference, from a pedestrian special with way cooler bodywork.
Yeah.
The early M3 had the box flares that are they're like 6 inches wider.
Yeah,
than
they're
series.
huge.
They're cool.
Yeah.
Whereas this one was, from the outside, didn't have a whole lot distinguishing it from the regular model. It had cooler wheels.
The E36.
The
Yeah,
E36,
yes.
yeah. So it looked like a normal car, just with a couple of nice detail adds. So before we got this, BMW North America was like, no, we're not going to sell any more of those. We lost money hand over fist. We're not doing it. The BMW Enthusiast Club of America sent a whole bunch of letters to, I don't remember, maybe the head of marketing or something in Germany. I believe it was Germany. Anyway, sent a whole bunch of letters and
He
basically,
was like, I do not read English. I do not understand these letters.
well, no, he got like 150 letters and was super excited that he had all these people who were like claiming, hey, if you bring this to the United States for a reasonable price, we'll totally buy one. So he had 150 promissory notes, and he took it to BMW North America and was like, hey, you clearly have a need here. There's people who want this. We got to figure out how to get it to the market. And they said, fine, if you can do it for $35,000, which it was 1995, that was still a lot of money, but it was not that much money, they would sell it. So they built the car. It was exactly like the Eurospec version, except for the engine and transmission. That was a modified version of the regular engine with more displacement, bigger cams.
And it was up 50 horsepower on the sporty regular 325 IS. I mean, it was 100. Well, you're rated at 190. They were slightly underrated, but still, it was a 50 horsepower jump.
Yeah,
I mean, I think it was all in the induction for the most part.
Yeah, and that took the 0 to 60 time to like 5.3 seconds. This is fast. But they stayed at that reasonable level, and apparently the price difference between a non-M3 and the highest spec non-M3 and the M3 was $3,000, so the take rate was huge because it was like, well, duh, it's 50 horsepower and it has all this cool suspension stuff, and you can get really cool interior and all sorts of other things. They ended up selling what originally they had broadcast as a couple hundred units with the Eurospec M3 to like 6,000 units the first year. And it sold incredibly well the whole time it was available in the United States. They sold a coupe. They sold a sedan. The sedan apparently didn't weigh anymore, which was really cool. So yeah, the story of how we got the M3 as what it is was pretty interesting.
Tonight's episode of Junk Connoisseurs is brought to you by a special message from our newest sponsor. Do you suffer from sleep apnea? Are you a broke dreamer with more tools than finished projects? Well, you be damned before you'll give that fat cat medical device company thousands of dollars for some fancy nightstand air pump. Well, DIYCPAP.com has got your solution. From the same people who gave you the idea you could build your own fuel injection computer or solar panel comes the ability to build a mostly functional CPAP machine from commonly available household parts and an off-the-shelf Harbor Freight Predator 212 cubic centimeter gas engine. For just 6 easy payments of $19.95, we'll send you our easy-to-understand blueprints, a roll of HVAC flashing tape, 4.5 feet of our proprietary CPA PVC pipe, which is totally not the same as PVC pipe, we promise. You'll need to source a standard concert accordion, a box of 6-inch lag screws, 2 gallons of food-safe epoxy, and a preferably unopened 1990 Stretch Armstrong toy. With just a few hours of fiddling, you'll have your very own gas-powered CPAP machine that has almost never caused anyone's lungs to burst. Visit our website at DIYCPAP.com today and get started. Apnea? Ap not anymore. DIY CPAP.
So yeah, the next weird little tidbit thing, I guess, would be we talked about the compact. So they literally just cut the hatch off from a styling standpoint, cut the trunk off, and then made a little hatchback. The rear suspension was a carryover from the previous generation. So instead of the new fancy multi-link rear suspension that BMW had patented, it was a semi-trailing arm style that was real similar to what came in the 30, and apparently was very similar to what came in the 2002 in the 70s.
Right.
It was great. It was a little ambushy, not bad.
Yeah,
but not
I
as good
didn't-
as the E36, the regular sedan. And
Right. Like I didn't see anything that said that it was a big downgrade.
The regular E36 was so good that it suffered by comparison. Both
Sure.
the ride and the ultimate handling at the limit weren't quite as predictable. Yeah.
Yeah. You do shave about 400 pounds though.
That much.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, they're
so-
also like a foot shorter than a coupe.
You're
They
right.
are considerably truncated.
Yeah, so a 4-cylinder compact was 2,600 pounds. The probably the same, finding specific numbers. So it might be like 250 to 300 pounds.
Yeah,
but
still a noticeable drop.
yeah, overseas you could get an M3 compact. I don't think they sold a whole lot of them, but the Z car, so the sporty convertible that was a lot of chassis sharing with the E36, which was basically a rebody of a compact as far as suspension design. I think it might have had a shorter wheelbase. Anyway, you could also get that with the M series engines. So like, if you wanted performance, get the Z3M.
Yeah. I remember some criticism about the Z3. People didn't like it because it did have the semi-trailing arm rear suspension of the 318 Ti. But like you say, it was a compromise to get that small roadster.
If you're buying a BMW to go racing, you're probably going to buy an M3.
Yeah.
If you want one that's just fun to go out and cruise with, then yeah, okay, the convertible.
Anything else is fine.
Yeah, they're all going to be better than most of the things you could buy.
Right.
The M3 was touted as the best handling car in 1995, like better than a Ferrari 355, better than literally anything on the market, and it was in the U.S. it was $35,000. So it did win Car of the Year. But it was from Automobile Magazine, so it wasn't exactly
That's
the
not
same.
the same.
I know.
So BMW was like, well, we paid Motor Trend last year, and they did not pick us, so we will go to automobiles this year.
It did a bunch of racing. Shocker. I know.
Drag racing, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
People have drag raced this chassis a lot because a lot of people put LS motors in these.
Yes.
I don't know.
No,
yeah.
This would have been more of a touring car.
Yes. Yeah. So it won British Tour Car Championship in ~93. Won several Euro racing circuits through '95. Won the Australian Bathurst 1000 in '97. 24-hour of Nuremberg in '98. That was a diesel car, so that was the first.
Wow.
And it was a class win, I think. But it was what I read was that it won the 24-hour, and I think part of the reason is the fuel efficiency was so much higher than every
They just
other.
didn't have to pit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then that was a 320D, so a 4-cylinder turbo diesel.
Wow.
Raced in the U.S. in IMSA GT in '96, '97. Those were M cars, I believe. And there are a bunch of Hot Wheels. So, the M3 Lightweight is one that I know has been I've seen in person at some point in my life, a Hot Wheels. So that's the one you see. It's usually white, and it has like a red and blue checker flag on one of the rear fenders. So that was the race special, and they sold, I don't know, like 136 of them. Maybe that's where I got the number for the Alpina, but very few. Those are worth an absolute ton. The car, not the Hot Wheels. Yeah, so that's probably the most valuable version of this chassis is the M3 Lightweight, even though there may not be enough Alpinas B8s to have a discussion regarding that one.
Yeah, I feel like that's one. It's like if you want one, you'll pay what the person selling it
Yeah,
wants.
yeah.
And you probably have that if you seriously want one. You know,
Yeah.
like-
The lightweight for a rank 3 was $110,000 or so from Haggerty. And none of them are going to be grade 3. They're going to be 2s and 1s, and those are worth $250 plus. It's a lot of money for a
yeah.
30-year-old BMW.
I just made myself sad looking up what a M3 is worth, but I'll wait till we get to the next section to talk about why.
So I think I sort of slept on these. I knew that they existed. I thought they were neat, but like I didn't ever go searching for a reasonably nice one that was also not overpriced or haggard or whatever. And now we've reached the position where it's the same as like a Nissan 240SX. They are just either beat to crap or people want a whole bunch of money for them. So yeah, I guess that takes us to the, would you buy some version of this, a specific version or any version at all?
Let me tell you a story. 2011. I was driving down past the local BMW dealership and slammed on the brakes and swerved in hard enough that my then girlfriend, now wife, exclaimed, "Oh no, what now?" Because first she was just upset, then she saw we were pulling into a car lot, and she's like, "Well, I know where this is going." And I walked over, I said, shut up, we're test driving this. And it was a 96 M3, Dakar yellow, 70,000 miles. And I was looking at it, the salesman came out, and he's like, "Oh, yeah, well, yeah, you want to test drive it?" And I'm like, yeah, I would. You know, it was a nice Saturday afternoon. We did everything to do. So I test drove it, and it was clean. Like, had been taken care of. Somebody had traded it in on a 330D, which was, like, brand new. And apparently had driven it from Colorado to do that. To trade it in for a diesel, on a new Diesel 3 Series. And I hadn't even asked price. And the kid selling it was like 19, you know, first real job, and he's like, well, I mean, I don't know what they're asking for it, and what do you want to pay for it? And I'm like, I'd give $7,000 for it. And he said, okay, well, let me go take that to my sales manager. And I'm like, there's no way he's gonna take that, you know. And I didn't have $7,000 handy. Like, I probably could have scraped it together. Kid walks back out and he says, yeah, $7,000 will do it. And I'm like, oh, he called my bluff. And
Oh God.
even that was low, but not insanely low at the time. It was probably a $9,000 or $10,000 car.
Yeah, because I mean, it was 14 years old at that time. So for this type of vehicle, that's probably about
That's
the
the bottom
best
of the
time.
curve.
Yeah.
And I, at the time, was just broke as shit. And I don't remember what came up, but it was like, well, I was going to go to the credit union and try to borrow it, and I didn't. And then I looked up on Haggerty what that would be worth today in, you know, number 3 good condition, and it would be worth like $28,000. So, and they are such a sweet driving car.
Yeah. A friend of mine had one in college. His mom bought it new.
Oh, nice.
And she bought something else. I'm trying to remember what it was, because she would only drive stick, and she liked performance cars.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't remember what it was. Anyway, so he got it. So he had a 95, not British Racing Green, but that color, tan interior.
It's Oxford green.
Oxford green.
Mm-hmm. Same color as the one sitting in my driveway.
Yeah,
That green?
Yeah. And it was, I didn't ever get to drive it, but I got to ride around it a bunch. It's super fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know. Because by that point, it was 10 years old. It's 2005. I knew that guy. And it was just sort of a car. You know, some people knew what it was, but it was old enough that, you know, whatever. Most people didn't care. He was like changing his oil in the dorm parking garage. He was just...
Sounds like me in college.
Yeah. Yeah, he was an interesting guy. No, I really should have paid more attention when I had the money post college, but for some reason I was off in MR2 land, and that was fine. But it was also, I don't know, missed an opportunity because they are even non M chassis cars. Finding one that's not crap is going to cost real money.
But not as much as an E30 in similar condition, am I right? Or no?
Man.
At this point, I think they're probably
okay.
comparable.
Okay.
Oh no, what?
Alan's
just a
giving
regular
us a
three?
E30 M3s have gone.
Oh, no,
we're just talking about
325
more pedestrian, 325,
IS,
325.
yeah, like manual.
Same.
Yeah, they're not
a clean one is a $10,000-$12,000 car. Like a clean, nice, low mileage one, a ratty driver, like our kind of spec, $5,000.
Yeah, but at this point, I don't think I would buy that $5,000 car because I don't want to mess with a BMW that somebody has hacked apart.
Correct, you don't.
Yes. It's one thing to do it on something that's old and simple, but even by this point, they're not simple.
Every time I've worked on mine, at least once, I will throw a wrench across the garage and say, why? Just trying to figure out why something is... And at least half the time, I'll get 3 steps further along the job and be like, oh, that's why. Like, sometimes they're right. Sometimes they really do have a better way to do it. And sometimes it's just like complexity for complexity's sake.
So, no, I don't think I'll be able to buy one of these.
Yeah.
Definitely not an M car. Probably not a regular one. How about you, Alan?
Oh, I mean, I've already said I should have bought one.
Yeah.
And would buy one again if I could get not a $7,000 one. If I get a $15,000 one and I had the money, I'd be all about it for a nice day driver. They're great.
Yeah.
And they're only going up. But I don't know.
You have a 5 Series BMW of similar
age,
vintage or age right now.
What I should do is fix that damn 5 Series and drive the wheels off of it and just deal with all the
More
wrong with it. It's
judgmental
worth
among us would agree with you. Yeah.
So you guys both agree. Yeah. I mean, you're not wrong, but
No.
yeah. How about you, Alex?
They haven't ever really been on my radar, but always just outside to where it's like, maybe I ought to look into those a little bit. The BMWs I've owned have all been too far gone to reasonably save. Like they were never going to be nice BMWs. The last one I had, which was I don't even know what, an E39. Did you say?
Yeah, the 5 Series you had.
The
That
5
was
Series.
all right. That
it
could
was
have
a
been
5-speed. It
Yeah.
was all right, but I got it, and it had a lot of very common issues that would have cost a lot of money and even more time to get it to be worth about $4,000 in its day, which maybe it would have been worth more than that now. And I'm looking at it and thinking, I don't really want to do that. So I ended up I ended up selling it for probably about what it was worth, but that was good to me at the time because I got it in a trade. And I will say that, and this is not an E36, it's an E39 we're talking about, but that car with probably the same engine that the E36 would have and a 5-speed transmission was fun to drive.
the M50 that they put in those was rated at 190 horsepower. If you put one on a chassis dyno, a good one puts down 180 horsepower.
To the wheels?
Yes.
Okay.
They are not way underrated, but they're underrated.
Uh-huh.
And they are, And so an E36, imagine the same car, same driving experience weighing about 350 pounds less.
Yeah.
And you're there.
With that in mind, having the experience I did in the E39, a ratty one, and what's funny is when I sold that car, 3 kids showed up to test drive it, and only one. They brought one of them along specifically because he knew how, in air quotes, to drive a standard transmission.
Were they all like on each other's shoulders wearing a trench coat?
No, that would have been great though.
We are here for your German car, sir. I'm pretty sure you're.
And we got not very far up the road. I'm like, this is the second BMW I've sold to someone who doesn't know how to drive a manual transmission. And I'm like, okay, guys, that was cool and all. You've seen what it's like. Do you want to go for a ride? And they're like, what do you mean? I said, do you want me to drive it up the road? And they're like, I guess. And I got in the driver's seat and said, buckle up. And we went up the twisty 2-lane blacktop state highway near my house, and I think I scared them. No, I don't think. I know that I scared them, and that sold that car real quick. That kid was negotiating before we got back to my house on how much it was going to cost to bring that car home. So it was a
scare-roused.
Yes,
they're like, yes, please.
They were like, we didn't know cars would do this. This is, and I hope those guys are still alive, because I probably set a bad example. But it's all. I was like, oh, what you've seen of this test drive is not going to sell this car, but this will. So anyway, that was not even the E36 as I've mentioned, but having had that experience with the bigger car and being appreciating a smaller, sportier car, yes, I think I would like to own one of these. I've never looked seriously. I think I test drove one or two just cheap examples throughout my days, but I don't remember specifically. I don't think it was the one that I'm thinking of was not a manual transmission. Of course, I would prefer to have a manual transmission, but if a deal came along on one of these with an automatic, would it be that bad? I don't know. I might like it.
The thing is that they had a very high take rate on the manual transmission,
Yeah.
even on the plebeian stuff, even on your 318s and your 325s. Probably, a third to maybe a half have a stick?
Yeah.
Well, I bet of the ones surviving, because I bet
More likely to be enthusiast owned and maintained. Yeah.
I would be interested in looking further into these, and I bet we'll find out that they're probably a little bit more money than I want to get into for an enthusiast, non-daily driver type car, which isn't smart, but that's probably what we'll find out. What I've heard about them is that their interiors were not really of good quality. Granted, we're guys that I'm a guy that's got a bunch of 1970s and 80s domestic stuff. So, I mean, the bar's already pretty low, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Other than being more complex and probably.
Apparently, part of the thing is during the design process, one of the design briefs was the car needed to be at least 80% recyclable.
Oh, okay.
So part of that is the way they assembled the interior was, instead of literally bonding plastic to metal, they just glued it together in a much less aggressive manner, because then you could take it apart when you needed to recycle it.
Okay.
That's why the door panels self-disassemble.
Yeah, because they're just held in there with hopes and prayers.
The 5 Series is a really nice place to spend time and holds up pretty well comparatively.
Yeah.
I mean, headliner falls down, but what doesn't,
Right.
I mean, given the price gap between the two, even though it's not massive, like the 3 Series is your basic family car in Germany.
Yeah.
The 5 Series is not. Like,
5 Series is aspirational. It's
Yeah.
near luxury to luxury.
Right.
I still have the window sticker on mine, which is a 96, and it was a 528, so the base 5 Series, no options, and it was $49,000. So you could have bought an M3 and had enough change for a nice family vacation for the same money.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and that was part of the reason the M3 was so successful, is because it was way cheaper than even the next level up of BMW manual anything. So you couldn't get into the higher class looking 5 Series for the same amount of money. So you might as well get the one with the more power and cool suspension and wheels and whatever. Plus, they did get, I think in 96, they added the 4-door version. So you could get a manual, the M3 4 or 5, 4 doors, 5-speed. And those were pretty popular because they were family friendly.
I will also, I was going to add in asking if I would own one, this is one of BMWs in general are one of the few vehicles out there where if a 2-door is available, I'm still willing to consider a 4-door, because
They generally made them look good.
they made them look good. Yeah.
Apparently, also during the design process, the E36 was the first of its line, so compacts, that was designed specifically as a sedan. So the sedan came out the year before, coupe came out the year after. In the U.S., I think it was the same year, because they were selling, I think they started selling in Europe in 91, 92 here. So changed the roof line, whatever. But previous ones had all been designed as coupes. And then they're like, oh, where do we put the extra 2 doors when we decide to build
So
inevitably?
if you wanted children, why did you buy a performance car?
I mean, I just assume that any car is a performance car to Germans because they're willing to shove large engines into basically everything. Yeah. Like,
they're willing to take any chassis and make it anywhere from like it's powered by a 599cc parallel twin on up to it's got a Cummins straight 6 diesel. You know, I don't know. That's not really a German thing, but they go like you want your small car with nothing or your small car with everything. They do have like a breadth of options.
Yeah. Well, this is a good example where the European version you could get a 115 horse gas engine or a probably equally gutless diesel
on up to 300 horsepower from a straight 6.
Yeah, yeah.
Or 340 from a V8 if you really want to spend the coin.
Yeah, that seems like something that's a bit more common overseas. The Opel Vectra is a good example where it's just like available as all the pedestrian versions, but oh, by the way, we also have this 300 horsepower all-wheel drive version you can get.
Bonkers edition.
Yeah. And they did that on everything, it seems. So, yeah, I don't know. They're cool. I wish I would have bought one when I could have, when they weren't garbage or really expensive.
Yeah. Well, and that's... So, yeah. All right, so if we're looking at... You guys may have already looked while we were doing this. We're looking at an E36 non-M. Just E36 with the standard transmission in reasonable shape.
I didn't look at Hagerty for that, but you'd spend reasonable being something that we would that you or I would be like, I'm going to take this to the car show and I'm actually going to wash it first, and people are going to be sort of excited to see it. And
let's put like something that we can buy and it doesn't need a restoration to be cool or doesn't need major work, but
$7,500.
Okay,
yeah,
probably.
Actually, no, these are less than I was expecting. Like, here's a compact manual, 100,000 miles. I am questioning if it's because it's $7,000, and I would have assumed it was more expensive than that.
Yeah,
I mean, these numbers are appealing to me as a guy who was recently fed up with a project and wondering why I even mess around with this old rusty junk that has no performance. And you think, well, you could get one of these for sub $10,000, we'll say, is safe, and have something to enjoy enjoy driving in ways that I enjoy driving. And I mean, at the age I'm at, I don't need to look as sporty as I don't need a Corvette. Well, I'm not old enough for a Corvette. Sorry.
Yes,
I should probably backtrack that whole age.
You are prime Corvette in age right now, sir.
I'm a little young for Corvettes if you look at the demographic of people you see driving Corvettes. But yeah, my hair's the right color. We'll put it that way.
You got hair.
Okay, so I guess I should have looked at things other than Hagerty. Oh, this is crusty. Here's an M345, so the 4-door manual transmission, $8,500.
That's an M.
But it's 200,000 miles, which whatever. At this point, that's normal if it's been maintained.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of body rot, which is probably particularly bad. But yeah, sub $10,000 will get you a variety of the non-M versions in probably reasonable condition.
Well, this would also be one I could see you would want to find out what you want. I think it's pretty common with BMWs if you're getting a keeper that it'd have some pretty good records associated with it, and maybe travel to go find one in an area or the one that you want. I think this is how people do that. We travel to get stuff because there's a good deal 4 hours away. Mm-hmm. We don't travel because, this is the one I want.
Find the thing they want, fly to Arizona and drive it home.
Right. And this is the kind of deal it might be kind of fun to do that with if you could have it checked out first and do a fly and drive and enjoy the drive home. That'd be kind of fun.
Yeah.
Most of the stuff I'm interested in, you you wouldn't want to do that without a trailer. You wouldn't want to fly and drive. You want to drive and drag.
Fly and drive and rent a U-Haul and a trailer and drag home.
That's expensive.
Drive and drive and drive and
Ask
drive
the
and
man
drive
who's
and
done it.
drive and
Yeah.
load and then drive some more.
Get a hotel in Tucumcari, New Mexico, and wonder why you didn't pick a hobby that has less stupid ideas associated with it.
Okay, so here's a 99 M3, so like the last one. 155,000 miles, that really nice blue with dove interior, so it's like a off-white.
That interior is impossible to keep clean.
I'm sure that it is.
That is apparently it's like a 5% price premium just to not have Dove interior on
really?
the M cars because people are like, I can actually use it. I don't have to take my shoes off to get in. Yeah.
Nice. 15 grand though. So like you
Okay.
can get a serviceable M car for mid-teens.
Cheaper than I thought.
Yeah. No, that's much more reasonable than I was expecting after the Haggerty like $28,000
Let's all go buy M3s.
And so what I think I would like to have more.
basement, Alan. No money.
And
Well,
so
I'm going to go buy an M3.
And
Let me
so
write in it.
I think. Sorry, I'm going to start
Yeah.
again. And so I think what I'd like to have more is an E30, but I don't think you can buy a sub $10,000 E30 right now. That's
That
in
you want to
similar-
own?
right?
Yeah.
that would be instrumental. One that I want to.
Good. Not an M car, but you can get an E30
Well,
for cheaper, but it's gonna
I'm not interested in.
It's
an
going to be
M car.
slower. I mean, that's the thing.
Yeah.
Most of the E30s you can still get are ADA. They're the
Yeah,
they're
no,
the-
I don't want
the
one of those.
economy engine, and
I've
they're
had one of those.
Not terrible.
I've
but
had
they're
an
not
E30
great.
Ada.
Yeah, you need an E36. You've had an E21 and an E30.
Yeah.
And you
need-
can't-
I guess those are the rules.
You need to
So
bridge some gaps here.
as I started with, I have a feeling I know what I'm going to be searching on Facebook Marketplace for later tonight, and
You skip the E28 too. You need to go find yourself an 80s 5 Series.
Yeah.
They're fucking sweet, but good luck finding one.
yeah, I don't like the looks of those as much. I don't dislike
Really?
them, but if I'm thinking of the right
I'm
one,
just curious. What's it like just not being able to perceive things visually?
I don't know. I wouldn't know. I've got. They were just if it's what, and I may be thinking of the wrong thing. They just weren't as appealing to me as the E30, or the E36, or the E39. But
I don't think BMW really missed between like
yeah,
19
that's not to me. That's not their best effort.
between like 1970 and 2000 and man, what's BMW? When did BMW start making ugly cars? Feels like it was.
Bangle butt.
Oh yeah. The 5 Series
the
in like the mid aughts and the 7 Series in like 2002.
E60?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're not. So the 5 Series isn't terrible. The 7 Series is bad.
Yeah, the 7 Series is
Yeah,
bad.
but
Chris Bangle, I believe, was the designer, and he made some serious
Yeah.
choices when it
the
came
English
to
ruin everything.
the rear end of the 5 and 7 series and the 6 series from that
Yeah.
time period. The 3 series didn't get the treatment. It had some other wonkiness, but no, BMW had a good solid 30 years of like design, particularly when you were comparing them against other cars.
Yeah.
Right.
So the E28, I kind of agree, is not the most like the E39 is more attractive.
Yeah.
I think that's a very
The
easy thing to
E39
argue.
is economy of line. Like it is everything you could look up car in the dictionary and it would be a picture of the E39 because it is the representative of the species. But at the same time, there's no jewelry. There's no no extra flash at all. you know?
But what I was getting at is like if you compare the E28, which is the mid to late 80s 5 Series midsize car, to the BMW or the Mercedes of the time, the Audis of the time, those were not good looking.
Yeah.
Porsche didn't make any sedans at that point or anything other than basically a 911.
It was
or
still setting the
944.
bar for looks on
Yeah.
on the
So,
full
like,
size. Yeah.
For what the time period they were working with, and they were almost always the most attractive sedan.
Again, don't dislike the E. I don't dislike the E28, but it's one of my. There are a lot of BMW body styles I like more than that one.
The E28 to me is the one that if you update to the Euro bumpers that are a good 6 inches shorter on
Yeah,
either
that
end,
would- yep.
you immediately just completely transform the nature of the car.
I could see
Same
that.
with the E30. E30 was the same
Yeah,
way. Although I think the E30 like tolerated the American diving board bumpers a little better than the E28 did.
Yeah, I would agree with that. The American bumpers on the 5 Series look a bit underbite.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bulldog. Anyway, BMW rambles.
We have
Any other rambles for BMW?
Thanks for listening to 3 guys ramble about BMWs from before they were born.
Hey, I was
Not quite.
definitely born when everything we've talked about was.
When did the 2002 come out? 72?
Okay.
70, I think.
Yeah. So like
I was born in 75, so
a
yeah.
teeny tiny bit of this conversation
Yeah,
preceded you.
yeah.
The
But I
vast
think they were
majority of it.
built-
Not.
How late did the 2002 go though? What
8? 78?
8 or so? Yeah.
Yeah, that was right when they started replacing the 320.
So.
Yeah.
Yep. Well. All right. Well, hey, thanks for listening. Check us out on Facebook. That's one presence we have.
And YouTube.
Send
Coming
us-
soon.
Coming soon to YouTube. Probably before we launch this. It sounds like
Likely.
Alan's going to put some of the episodes on YouTube for those that would prefer to listen to us there.
Still going to be audio only because nobody needs to see us, but you know.
Send us an email at junkconisr@gmail.com. And unless anybody has anything else, all I have to say is stay fresh, cheese bags.
If it was an I, that meant it had a gas engine.
Sit still, Alan.
That's it's like
Start that
talking to my
sentence over.
children again.
Like playing cards with my sister's kids.